There's a moment. A single moment that divides your entire life into before and after. Not a year. Not a month. Not even a day. One moment. One decision. One choice that rewrites everything. You've had these moments before, even if you didn't recognize them. The day you decided to apply for that job. The night you chose to stay or leave. The morning you finally said yes to yourself. These weren't grand, dramatic moments. They were quiet, simple. A single decision that changed the trajectory of everything that followed. And right now, in this very moment, you're standing at another crossroads. You might not see it yet, but it's there, waiting. One decision away from a life you can't even imagine yet. The question is, will you make it? Or will you let fear choose for you? Let me tell you about a man, 37 years old. He worked the same job for 15 years. Same desk. Same complaints. Same dread every Monday morning. Everyone told him he was lucky. Stable job. Good benefits. Why would you leave? But inside, he was dying. Slowly. Quietly. One day at a time. Until one Tuesday morning, sitting in traffic, staring at the same highway he'd driven for 15 years. He made a decision. Not tomorrow. Not when the timing was better. Not when he had more saved or more certainty. Right there. In that moment. He decided, I'm done. His friends thought he was crazy. His family thought he was irresponsible. His co-workers threw him a goodbye party where everyone secretly thought, he'll regret this. 2 years later, he built a business doing what he actually loved. Not because he was lucky. Not because he had some special advantage, but because he made one decision that terrified him. And everything after that decision was different. He told me later, that Tuesday morning in traffic, that was the day I chose myself. Everything good in my life now traces back to that one moment of courage. One decision. 15 years of suffering. Ended by one decision. Here's what nobody tells you about life-changing decisions. The one you need to make most is always the one that scares you most. Why? Because if it was easy, you would have already made it. If it was comfortable, it wouldn't require courage. If it was safe, it wouldn't be transformative. The decisions that change everything are terrifying precisely because they demand you become someone you've never been before. Think about it. The decision to leave a toxic relationship. The decision to pursue your real dream instead of the safe path. The decision to forgive and let go. The decision to bet on yourself when everyone's betting against you. These aren't small choices. They're identity shifts. They're you telling the universe, I'm ready for the next chapter, even if it means burning down the current one. And that's terrifying. Because humans hate uncertainty more than they hate suffering. We'll stay in jobs that crush our souls because at least we know what tomorrow looks like. We'll stay in relationships that diminish us because at least we're not alone. We'll stay in versions of ourselves we've outgrown because at least it's familiar. But here's the truth. The life you want is on the other side of the decision you're avoiding. There's a psychological phenomenon called decision paralysis. When faced with a life-changing choice, your brain goes into survival mode. It starts listing every possible worst-case scenario. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I'm making the biggest mistake of my life? And so you wait. You wait for the perfect moment. You wait for a sign. You wait for certainty. But here's what you need to understand. Certainty is a myth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Signs don't come with neon lights and written instructions. You know what comes instead? Regret. The slow, haunting realization that you let fear make your decisions for you. That you stayed small when you could have expanded. That you played it safe when you could have played to win. Research shows that at the end of their lives, people don't regret the things they did and failed at. They regret the things they never tried. The decisions they were too scared to make. The life they could have lived if they'd just been brave enough to choose it. Don't let that be you. There was a woman, 29 years old, about to marry someone her family loved. Everyone said they were perfect together. The wedding was planned. The invitations were sent. The venue was booked. And 3 weeks before the wedding, she woke up with a truth she could no longer ignore. She didn't love him. She loved the idea of him. She loved making her family happy. She loved the security and the approval and the picture-perfect life everyone expected. But she didn't love him. And she couldn't marry him. So she made the hardest decision of her life. She called it off. 3 weeks before the wedding. After deposits were paid and flights were booked and 100 people had cleared their calendars. Her family was devastated. Her friends were confused. People talked. She's selfish. She's scared of commitment. She'll regret this. But here's what happened. 1 year later, she met someone who saw her. Really saw her. Not the version she performed. Not the role she played. Her. And she told me, with tears in her eyes, canceling that wedding was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. But it was also the decision that saved my life. If I'd gone through with it, I would have spent the rest of my days pretending to be happy while dying inside. One decision. One moment of choosing herself over everyone else's expectations. And everything changed. When we talk about one decision changing your life, we're not talking about magic. We're not talking about snapping your fingers and suddenly everything's perfect. We're talking about direction. About trajectory. About the compound effect of moving toward something real instead of away from yourself. One decision is a fork in the road. Go left, and 5 years from now you're one person. Go right, and 5 years from now you're someone completely different. Same starting point. Completely different destinations. And here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. You already know which decision you need to make. Deep down, in that quiet place where truth lives, you know. You've known for a while. Maybe months. Maybe years. But you've been negotiating with yourself. Not yet. When I'm ready. After this happens or that changes. But nothing's going to change until you do. The decision you're avoiding is the one your future self is begging you to make. Let's talk about what happens when you don't decide. Because not deciding is still a decision. It's deciding to let circumstances choose for you. It's deciding that fear gets to run your life. It's deciding that comfort is more important than growth. And there's a cost to that. Not an obvious cost. Not a dramatic, visible cost. A slow cost. The cost of looking in the mirror and not recognizing who's looking back. The cost of waking up 10 years from now in the same place, wondering where the time went. The cost of becoming a ghost in your own life. Playing it safe feels safe. Until you realize you've traded your potential for comfort. And comfort becomes a cage so slowly you don't even notice you're trapped. I've met people in their 60s who are still living lives they chose at 25. Not because those lives are right. But because at some point they stopped making decisions and started letting life happen to them. Don't be that person. Don't let years pass while you wait for permission or perfection or some magical moment of clarity. The clarity comes after the decision, not before. Right now, there's a version of your life that's waiting. A version where you made the brave choice. Where you said yes to yourself and no to what no longer serves you. Where you bet on your potential instead of settling for your circumstances. That version isn't fantasy. It's possibility. And the only thing standing between you and that life is one decision. Not 10 decisions. Not a complete life overhaul. One decision. The one you've been avoiding. Maybe it's finally leaving the relationship that's been over for years. Finally starting the thing you've been planning forever. Finally choosing your mental health over other people's comfort. Finally admitting what you really want and going after it. Whatever it is, you know what it is. And I'm here to tell you something you probably need to hear. You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to rewrite your life. Even if it disappoints people. Even if it's scary. Even if you don't know how it will turn out. You're allowed. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, in this moment, I want you to ask yourself, what's the one decision I've been avoiding? Not the small stuff. Not, should I switch gyms, or should I cut my hair? The big one. The one that makes your heart race when you think about it. The one that simultaneously terrifies and excites you. The one that whispers to you late at night when you can't sleep. You know what it is. And I want you to know something. That fear you feel? That's not a stop sign. It's a compass. It's pointing you toward growth. Toward possibility. Toward the person you're meant to become. The decision that scares you is usually the one that will set you free. 5 years from now, you'll be somewhere. That's not a motivational cliché. That's just math. Time passes whether you make brave decisions or not. The question is, where will you be? Will you be living a life you chose? Or a life that happened to you? Will you be the person who made the hard call? Or the person who played it safe and spent years wondering, what if? Here's what I know. The decision that changes everything doesn't come with perfect timing. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It doesn't arrive with a guarantee. It comes in a moment of courage. A moment where you decide that the life you want matters more than the fear you feel. And that moment can be right now. Not tomorrow. Not when things are better. Not when you have more clarity. Now. Because one decision can rewrite your entire life. And you are one decision away from everything you've been dreaming about. So make it. Make the call. Have the conversation. Take the leap. Choose yourself. Not because it's easy, but because the alternative, staying where you are, who you are, doing what you've always done, is no longer an option. Your life is waiting. And it's time to meet it. This is Clocktron Mindset TV. One decision can rewrite your entire life. What will yours be? Make it today.